how you doing? Let's talk about something I don't normally talk about. Let's talk about something mundane like strings. Strings never used to interest me in any way at all. Really couldn't have cared less until I started to sing. And this may sound like an interesting and bizarre thing to say to you, but when I first started playing guitar, I couldn't care less, really. I would play anything at all. It was just a means to an end, because I didn't need to be paying attention to everything else around outside of me. It was very internal. Playing was to do with the way I felt about the guitar, and that was it. When I started singing maybe 5 years ago, something had to change within the way I was as a musician. This is a bit deep for YouTube, but I thought I'd go there anyway. I'd go there! Basically, when you start singing, you start listening to things around the outside of you, the periphery. You're not just focusing selfishly upon yourself as a guitarist. You're listening to the vocal, listening to the percussion, the drums, the audience. The whole thing is a synergy, a simian synergy, if you will, that is the song. And it was when I started singing that I started to pay attention to the way I really sounded as a guitarist. And I realised that string brands made a big difference. And this was nailed home to me big style recently when I was given a really, really nice expensive guitar and I hated it. And I didn't know why. It was really frustrating. I loved the look of the guitar. I knew all the components were great. It was just, I knew it was a wicked guitar, but I hated it. So much so, I actually phoned the company who sent it to me and said, look, I'm going to probably send this one back. And they were amazed. They were like, why? Why are you sending it back? I said, I don't get on with it. I just don't feel anything from this guitar. Long story short, before I sent it back, I changed the strings on it and was amazed to discover that the simple act of changing the strings utterly changed the feel, the tone, the playability. The whole lot was changed. And really opened me up to a whole new world of little tiny things really make a difference when you're a musician who's sensitive enough to pick up on these things. I mean, I'm a good musician, so I'm quite tactile, I'm sensitive, I can feel this stuff, but sometimes I guess I hadn't quite realised how much of a big difference it made. You know, I just thought strings were strings. Anyway, you all know I'm endorsed by D'Addario, so I'm very biased. But it turned out that the strings on the guitar weren't D'Addario, and I am so used to having wicked strings that I picked up on these cheaper, inferior strings, put them on, and it was badass. It really was. On a similar tangent, I played my first ever acoustic clinic a few weeks ago. I think I did a video blog about it, and I was saying that I was going to try these new strings. And these are the EXP badass coated ones. And I did some really interesting research. I discovered why guitar strings were originally coated. This is very interesting. Apparently, the majority of guitars are manufactured in hot, humid climate countries like China, Korea, yada yada yada. And the whole coating strings thing came about to save manufacturers money. It was really a financial decision within the company, nothing to do with the player at all. People, they didn't care less. It was just to make the money, you know what I mean? And so they thought, well, we'll coat the strings, that way when the guitars come across from China they won't look like a punch of shite. And D'Addario, I think, were one of the first companies to realise that actually it could be good for the player too if the coating was a little bit thinner. And I absolutely hated coated strings. I would get through set after set of acoustic strings, especially recording. For example, when I recorded acoustic guitar at Abbey Road, I went through 3 sets of acoustic strings. One in the warm-up, one during the recording, and then one before I left. And that's not an exaggeration. I sweat profusely. I'm a monkey lord, and I'm corrosive. My body is basically repellent to metal. And so the uncoated strings, although they felt amazing and sounded incredible, they weren't working for me, which was a bit of a shame. Anyway, got these tried them at the clinic, I actually said wow when I played them. By the way, I'm not being paid to say this. And they don't feel coated. I mean, you can tell they're coated. If someone says they don't feel coated, they're lying. You can, if you're a sensitive dude, you can feel they're coated, but it doesn't feel like a coated string. It just feels a bit different. Basically, musician on the street paying for a string is going to save cash this way. You know, I think that's a good thing, because you dudes, with all the money you can get to pay for pizza and other really important things, it's not sticky. It doesn't adhere to you. It doesn't sort of take away from the natural feel of playing guitar. It isn't like playing guitar with gloves on. It just feels like really nice, clean, fresh strings 24/7. They don't corrode. And at the moment it's like 28 degrees here and humid as hell. And these have been out of the packet for about a week and they're good as new. And they will be for years. So I just think they're great. And when I started using nice acoustic strings on my guitars and singing, something magical happened. I thought I'd share it with you. So for your delectation, delight and aural enjoyment, here is part of one of my new tunes for the new EP I'm recording called Synergy. Thank you very much. Oh,
you'll never be a slave to me. You'll never be a slave to me. Slave to me, monkey majesty. Slave to me, never be a slave to me. You'll never be a slave to me. Slave to me, monkey majesty.